Okay, so instead of just releasing the files, releasing the documents so that, the internet can read and have at this information, we're still being treated like children. Now this former stripper is coming forward and announcing that they have put together a task force to go and review all this stuff. Now, this task force that they've put together is going to last 6 months, and they're going to have no subpoena power. That means they can't subpoena any witnesses and force them to testify. This is a fucking joke. This is a fucking manufactured, absolute farce, farcical disclosure. Mark my words. Nothing will come out. This is ridiculous for them to, to say all this stuff. Yeah, of course, we already know there were more than one shooter. There were two shooters? No, there might have been more than two shooters. How do we even know there were two shooters? We need to know their names. And then she's talking about subpoenaing, members of the Warren Commission to come testify. Or talking about people to the Warren. Everyone from the Warren Commission's dead now. Everyone who participated in the JFK cover up, 60 years ago is 70 years ago is dead now. This is a publicity stunt. Abso-fucking-lutely, this is a publicity stunt. Look who's on the task force. It's a bunch of Democrats. You think we're going to get the truth from these fucking people? The UFOs definitely come first. We go back to Project Blue Book, and we find out that Battelle Memorial Institute, a private nonprofit organization that runs the DOE, the Department of Energy, manages all of our national labs currently, and they ran a parallel Project Stork, a parallel project to Project Blue Book. So we have a private metallurgy expert in the Defense Department running their own UFO investigation parallel to the U.S. Air Force's farcical public-facing UFO front investigation. And that's exactly, what it's always been. And you can't blame people for not having any faith in their government after everything that's happened. And just release the fucking documents. We should have a task force set up to investigate your task force. It's a goddamn waste of time, especially if they don't have subpoena power. This is not the big government cleanup. This is a farce. This is a public-facing publicity stunt. Anyone who thinks they're going to investigate 9/11 and tell us the truth about 9/11 while we're invading Gaza and carpet bombing Gaza out of existence and taking it over for Israel. Well, guess what? I got a big joke to sell you all. That's why I get 50 viewers on my feeds. I promise to give you the truth. Me and Elon are going to clean up the government. We're not going to put any of these private contracts under SpaceX. It's not about Elon Musk and SpaceX capturing the UFO technology. None of that. Yeah, it is a massive distraction tactic. This is to make everyone think, look at what we're doing. We're being transparent and open. We're turning over a new leaf in the government, and we're going to start telling the truth, and we're going to hold all these people accountable. I swear there's some backdoor deal going on where they only let JFK get into that office if he promised not to prosecute or go after people, because there should be mass arrests. Until people are arrested and prosecuted in this country, then there's no justice. There's no legal change. There's no nothing. There's just the same old corrupt courts, same old corrupt government, same old corrupt bullshit. Please smash that like button. We are downgraded in the algorithm. People are restricted. The view counts. We're also prevented from getting this information out to larger audiences. They're shadow banning the fuck out of real information right now, and they're replacing it with fucking bullshit. All right. And if you don't believe me, this is like the CIA trying to erase me. I felt personally attacked. I felt like personally the CIA was trying to erase me and trying to erase all the work that we've done and insert their own people and take over this narrative. And I will debate Dave Rossi on physics any fucking time on your platform, Jesse Michaels. In fact, I've invited Dave Rossi to come back on my channel and debate physics with me, but he's keeps hiding behind this NDA bullshit. And you know, he's talking with all these super secret sources within the DOD of this evidence that he can't name and can't talk about. And this is really fucking great. Let's just play a clip from this, because I want people to hear and just listen, but you know, and listen to what he says and read between the lines on this, because I've made some really key timestamps for you. Let's start right here.
Seemingly saw some potential to what I was saying from a physics and engineering perspective, gave some presentations to those individuals, and since then continue to learn. Many cups of coffees later, many late nights spent just reading papers, you know, the Soviet papers, the older North American papers, which is
he reads Soviet papers, so he speaks Russian. He can read Russian. Interesting. That's
think in terms of 0-point energy tech, a lot of stuff is in the older literature than more so than the modern literature. And then from there, I built a handful of different devices.
Oh yeah, it's all in the older literature, and we can do this without metamaterials or special, you know, any of this quantum physics stuff. We can do it with extended electrodynamics, you know, like electromagnetic theory that's been out since Maxwell's day. So in 100 years of electrical engineering, knowing electric theory and having access to these materials, no fucking buddy in the entire world to date has created free energy machine but it's possible, according to Dave. Listen to Dave now. He's saying that it is possible. You don't need, you know, exotic quantum vacuum states. You don't need exotic quasi particles or any kind of quantum materials or any of that. You can do this with just regular wires. And yeah, there's many methods that you can use now. And it's all suppressed extended electrodynamics and stuff. And then we get to this part.
These longitudinal waves were shown to me by this being basically as slinkies, so to speak, that exist all around us. But because of the way that quantum theory explains it, or would explain it if there was any official way to that would be allowed.
Yeah, there is lots of official ways. Okay, and you don't know them. You don't know any of that stuff. You don't know QED or Schrodinger equation. You don't know any physics at all, buddy. And this is a fucking joke. I'm gonna call you out, Dave, because you motherfucker. You started this in 2020, okay? 2020, during COVID, coming on the APEC conferences and talking to real physicists and learning the real physics. And yeah, you read some papers. You dug into all this stuff. Yeah, exactly. Todd, tell this people the electrical engineering that they're saying that you can get free energy stuff, man. And then for him to come on Jesse Michaels' podcast, it's got not a huge viewership. It's not like one of his, you know, it's not like the Jake Barber psychic egg dude. But for Dave Rossi to come on and tell the public that he got this information from a blue alien plasma being that talked to him and gave him this information, when you just admitted that you joined up with the APEC conference, you wouldn't name these people. You wouldn't say you won't say who the people you linked up with are that gave you a chance and brought you into this community and were teaching you physics, right? But the aliens abducted you and taught you physics. You didn't learn it from the APEC group. You didn't learn, you know, anything from you know, sitting in on discussions with all the physics experts that I put together on these panels. You know, you can go back and look up all the times Dave Rossi's been on this channel. I mean, going back to APEC, probably in 2020. You know, David Rossi, you'll find 2 videos here. These going back only 11 days ago. These are more recent reposts of older stuff. So yeah, the Sal Pays interview that we did, Rossi jumped in on that panel, and we talked to Sal Pays. So, and I swear this is a way that you can actually get the truth out there, because apparently I'm so shadow banned. I'm so completely shadow banned
to explain it
that he can't even mention my name or the people that he got this information from. He has to tell the public that he got this information from blue fucking aliens, because that's the only way that, I mean, maybe you have to wrap, and I've always said this, you have to wrap real information in a disinfo bubble in order to get it out there. People wouldn't listen to this guy if he didn't. This is the whole crux of his whole story. This is the only reason people are listening to him explain physics badly and get all the physics wrong, just like he did on Tim Pool's podcast with Ashton Forbes. They're replacing us. They're replacing the people that put this information out there and the real source of this, and they're recapturing the information and remarketing it to the audience. This is just, I feel personally attacked with this, because you were part of our group. We helped build you up and put you on and connect you to these people that are your sources and link up with you didn't. How would you find all this stuff on your own? He claims that he was messing around with stuff that he learned on my channel. This is what he told me. This is what Dave Rossi told me, is that he's messing around at his home lab with stuff that he made from watching my videos and my channel. Okay, seems like he watches a lot more Ken Wheeler than he does in Electric Universe stuff than he watches of my material. But he told me that he built a machine based on this technology and that it worked, and that he got an immediate visit from some folks in the DOD, and now he's read in and sworn in on these projects, and that he's part of this secret project that he can't tell us about, but he can still like talk about and share little tidbits of information with us about all this. It just seems, I don't believe it. I don't believe any of it, David, especially when you go on Jesse Michaels and you give a shout out to blue plasma aliens. No shout out to APEC physicists, no shout out to the alien scientists or Falcon Labs or any of the people that helped, put you on. You give a shout out to the damn Sphere Bean Alliance. It's, come on, dude. My eyes are green, not blue. All right. But yeah, this is cooked, man. Hey, everyone out there in the audience watching. Yeah, the disinformation is really unreal, and the gaslighting. Yeah, so they're putting out all this fake stuff so that, like, oh, listen to the physics. These are the top physics people in the world right now that Jesse Michaels is talking to. These are the top physics, experts on this stuff. Yeah, and then Malcolm Bendall. So yeah, I mean, there's several people who've made similar claims. So it's not. I just, also the fact is, he says he was in a sleepy state. He was like half asleep when this sphere being visited him and gave him this information. So it sounds to me like he dreamed. It sounds to me like a dream. I don't, because he can't really relay any information that the sphere being told him, except for these slinkies that he saw that are somehow longitudinal waves, and it all connects. Malcolm, I would, it's weird, because Malcolm, it's like, we've invited him on the show. We wanted to talk to him, and the one time I don't go to Tesla Tech, he shows up there at Tesla Tech when I'm not there, and I missed the whole entire thing. So it's, again, I really want to see Malcolm come on with some engineers and some scientists who can really analyze his work and technology and make sense of this stuff, because I don't believe that you're taking pure exhaust and making it perfectly breathable. It just doesn't. Dude, Jesse said he give him a month or so, and he might come on the show, but I don't know. I don't know that he actually will. We'll see. I would love to get both Jesse Michaels and Dave Rossi on the show, or I'll go on Jesse Michaels' show with Dave Rossi and debate him on the physics that he got all wrong. And I wanted to, bring some more people on board with, let me just see here. I'll send this out to a couple people, but yeah, he's pure grift, I believe, man. It just until people show any evidence for this free energy stuff or teleportation or any of these technologies, man, I have to say this is all fucking bullshit, dude. It seems like it's disinformation to send us down completely wrong paths, man. And then I just don't get it, man. So the aliens abducted you and taught you physics, even though you were home alone, during COVID, hanging out on APEC conferences and talking to scientists the entire time. Where is this? I've never heard this from Dave before. It's not like he told this to me. He said that he had made a machine and gotten, based on insights he learned from watching our channel, and that he was then visited by the DOD, or some people from the NSA or whatever came and knocked on his door because whatever he built in his garage set off some kind of gravity pulse that was detected and picked up by these people, and that's when he got a visit, according to Dave. I don't buy any of it. I don't believe any of it, especially now that I see this guy coming out on Jesse Michaels' show saying that he got all his information from blue aliens, when we know that he's participated and been a active member in a lot of the APEC conference groups, which he refuses to mention, or even he says all these individuals and these people I can't really talk about or name. Why not, bro? We're all public. All our names are out there. All our information's out there, except it's super, super heavily shadow banned. I used to get 1,000 people watching, live on my lives, man. I can barely break 200 on a good day if I'm lucky now. Yeah, all the egg stuff and this, dude, it's like, yeah, insiders, dude. We are the insiders. We've talked to mad insiders. Yeah, bro, I'm sorry, man. This is just it's just ridiculous, Richard. What is going on, man? I would love to get these people to come on my show and do a debate. So about the UAP task force, if they really do a UAP task force, they need to go back to Project Stork and the Battelle Memorial Institute, which has basically run the UFO file since the 1940s, in place of Project Blue Book. I mean, this is the last government hearing on UFOs. This is how the last cover-up was completed. They, had the U.S. Air Force have a front Project Blue Book while they ran Project Stork behind the scenes. And the same kind of thing is currently going on with the UFO technology, where they create this front organization called AARO, right? And then it turns out that AARO is run by Moultrie, Ronald Moultrie, who's a Battelle. He hid Battelle from his resume. He scrubbed all his mentions of Battelle off his resume. But Battelle managed AARO, the same people that managed the UFO cover-up 80 years ago with Project Blue Book and Project Stork, ran the current UFO cover-up. And what did AARO do? They formed an anomalous AARO all-domain resolution office, and they spent no time looking at any other whistleblowers or witnesses or any information they were given. All they did was focus on the information that Jeremy Corbell gave them. They debunked all the fake Jeremy Corbell videos that they were either giving to, I believe a lot of them were giving, Jeremy Corbell these videos on purpose so that he'd release them, hype them up to his massive, artificially astroturfed and created audience, get everybody to hype up these UFO sightings, and then the AARO comes in and debunks them. And of course, they've debunked all these UFO videos so far, including the Go Fast, which is now Go Slow, which I never took credence in any of that stuff. I said, this is all a distraction. People got all excited because the New York Times ran that story, not realizing that the New York Times is one of the biggest propaganda agencies in the world, and that they were propping up artificially a proven CIA torture czar, the former CIA torture czar. This guy tortured people in Guantanamo to the point where they couldn't even testify anymore. These people were deemed unfit to stand trial because of the psychological trauma that they endured. The guy said that he had been targeted with an electronic weapon, that every time he'd fall asleep, they'd hit him with this weapon and it would wake him up. And they kept him awake for like weeks and weeks on end until he just went fucking insane. Your brain can't handle being awake and not resting for that long of a period of time. But that's the torture that they put people through. And Lou Elizondo writes about it in his book and says that he was taught remote viewing powers by Hal Puthoff and these secret government people, and that he used his remote viewing abilities to psychically attack this prisoner in the cell in Guantanamo. And that's not what happened, Lou. You're using electronic CIA weapons like Havana syndrome weapons, and then telling people you have psychic powers and abilities and that you don't have. Lou's played a very careful game to give just enough information so that he seems somewhat credible to an army of rabid believers, but yet just enough so that it discredits the entire field and discredits a lot of the people associated with it. The purpose is to really build up artificial hype for this narrative and then discredit it so that people think this is all disinformation. It's all nonsense. None of it's worth looking into. And they'll miss all the important stuff, like the fact that we had a secret space program for at least 11 years before NASA was created in 1958, because we don't forget in 47 and 45, after the fall of World War II, from 45 to 47, we rounded up all these German and other Nazi scientists under Operation Paperclip, and we brought them here to the U.S. to start our own space program. And they brought over metamaterials from the Nazis, like their U-480 stealth sub, which used a type of metamaterial anechoic tiles to make itself invisible from the British radar systems. So all that technology went and was captured by a bunch of Nazis that went and worked for secret in Huntsville, Alabama, and that's who set up our space programs. So yeah, all this stuff goes back to a whole bunch of space Nazis and weird things happening at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, like I don't know, a guy, material scientist, doing his postdoc at Aerospace Research Labs in 1974, and later being the same person who won the Nobel Prize for the discovery of quasi-crystals, which numerous Area 51 witnesses have talked about the government's involvement in quasi-crystals research going back decades. So all this stuff is highly suppressed, real technologies, real exotic technology, because these quasi-crystals allow for these amazing quantum quasi-particles, which do just way weird things than we've ever thought possible. We've found these amazing solutions to Maxwell's fields equations, which give us things like magnetic donut pulses, which we've talked about here on this channel, right? But think if you add another layer of vorticity to this dimension, now we have a curl within a curl, like these magnets, these coil windings that Bob Grenier and others have been talking about with, relation to cold fusion devices and other types of stuff. So if there's free energy, it's cold fusion, man. There's no way that, unless you can find a way to recreate the initial conditions of the initial universe, right? So that the universe thinks that it's it's just starting again, and it creates a big bang, right? So how would you create the initial fundamental conditions of the universe so that these quantum fluctuations can create an inflation or energy to come out? If there's a way to, reduce a point in space-time and that take all the interaction away so that it thinks it's nothing, then maybe something will be created out of nothing. I don't know. I can't really understand how free energy would work. And then for Dave Rossi to get on and claim that, we're having a coefficient of performance over 1, and that we have these over unity free energy machines. Okay, prove it, man. I would love to see it. We know that cold fusion is a real it's been proven in multiple laboratories. Numerous scientists have found evidence for it. World-leading electrochemists didn't make a mistake in mismeasuring heat from their fuel cell before coming out with their results back in 1989. And it's perfectly acceptable physics where you just have mass to energy conversion. It's tiny amount of mass times the square root of the speed of light equals a massive fucking amount of energy. So if you can find a way to convert mass into energy, you can create tons of energy just from burning mass and turning the mass into energy. And to think that, E equals mc squared is the mass energy equivalence that, Einstein gets all this credit for this equation, but what it really means is that mass is just energy that's trapped in a square box, right? The speed of light. So think about light traveling in a box. So normally light goes in a straight line from point A to point B, and those 2 points are entangled somehow in space. But think about spatial entanglement. So that's regular long distance temporal entanglement. So you have a temporal entanglement of a photon from 2 places, but then the photon can actually create mass, and mass can, you can have pair production and pair annihilation, where mass can come in and out of the vacuum and produce energy, or energy can hit something, like a high energy gamma ray can hit a nucleus and it will create a positron electron pair. So you can get mass literally popping out of the vacuum if you have enough energy. So what does that mean for matter and mass? Is it just some way, if somehow like light trapped in a space? And if that's so, then how do we take those trapped light geometries and align them and fix them to make weird things happen with M? Because that's what apparently these UFOs are doing, is they're taking all this mass in their craft, the hull of the craft, they're entangling it somehow to make it all cohere, either through nuclear magnetic resonance, EPR, NMR, or electron paramagnetic resonance, or maybe some type of electromagnetic wave resonance. We've talked, we have some of these people talk about scalar waves or scalar energy, whatever the fuck that means. Apparently it's if you take 2 waves and put them 180 degrees out of phase, they'll destructively interfere, and the energy doesn't disappear through conservation of energy. It goes into a scalar field. But what you could do with that and what that means is still experimentally unproven and unsure. There's people saying, oh, you can make Hutchison effect and all this other weird stuff happen. Prove it. Do it in your lab. Show me how to do it in my lab with the experiments, because I've ran tons of experiments on this stuff ourselves trying to figure this out. It doesn't fucking work. It's a bunch of hoaxers online telling people they can, plug a generator up to a motor and get free energy from it. I watched a guy I used to work with piss through $100,000 buying generators and scrapping them, trying to make free energy machines from shit videos he saw on the internet. Stuff that doesn't work, man. And these scammers, the free energy scammers, get hundreds of thousands of views, man. It's wicked. It's super popular, telling people that, they're not going to pay an electric bill. I just don't get it, man. I just don't get it. Self-running. Yeah, you'll find a whole bunch of these free energy scams on here. But anyways, this House Oversight Committee, this new disclosure task force that's going to run for 6 months and not have any subpoena power is a joke, especially with the breadth of everything she talked about. The Epstein file. I mean, all this stuff doesn't require a task force. Just release the freaking files. The internet is a way better and more reliable and trustworthy task force than anyone in the government ever could possibly be, especially at this point in the game. So to think that I trust Anna Paulina Luna and our government to tell the truth about all this when they don't have subpoena power and they have a task force full of career Democrats who are just, I don't see any incentive with any of these people to come out with the truth about any of this stuff. It doesn't make, especially Trump. Why would Trump support a task force like this when he's working so hard right now to do things in the Middle East that are all based on lies we've been told for the past 60 years? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense unless it's all just more of an intelligence op being run. I think that Paulina Luna was planning to put Lou Elizondo in charge of the CIA torture czar as a front man for this task force. But I think that enough of us spoke out and talked about, there's no truth in this world, bro. It ain't gonna come out. It ain't gonna happen, bro. Until they start arresting people and throwing these motherfuckers in prison, okay, then it's all a fucking dog and pony show. It's all a fucking front. These people, Fauci and Gates, should have been arrested on day one. They should be in a fucking prison cell. They should have every fucking phone call, every fucking email, every text message that they've sent gone through and published on the internet immediately so that we can all fucking see and investigate what these people have been up to, what they did in Event 201, what they planned before COVID, during COVID, and after COVID. Because COVID was a man-made bioweapon and it was intentionally released. That is the conspiracy theory that is the worst one, the darkest one of all. But it can't be darker than 9/11. I mean, we've covered 9/11 extensively for 15 years on this channel. I have an entire 9/11 mega playlist on my channel where we just annihilate all the evidence of the official story, all the official sources, every piece of evidence gone over, and then suspects identified, named, and called out. The people that should be subpoenaed and forced to testify, like L. Paul Bremer, or the head of security at the World Trade Centers, who I've talked about, that's now a VP for Leidos Corporation, that made all the airport scanners for our airports, made millions off selling these people scanners at all our airports. And they're the ones who ran security at the World Trade Centers on 9/11, who could have overseen the security and electronic badging system, allowing people in to demo the buildings and rig them with demolition explosives, all that stuff. This is a joke to think that, we're going to get the truth from a 6-month government task force full of Democrats with no subpoena power. A fucking joke. And anyone who believes it, anyone who believes it is believing that the king is wearing clothes. Yeah, they can't dismantle the CIA deep state and the shadow government without arresting these people. Luis Elizondo has had 7 fucking years to bring evidence to the table, and he's brought disinfo after disinfo case. He ran a techno scam. He ran a thing called the Atom Project, where they collected all the UFO material samples. Any physical evidence that the public had for UFOs was collected by this man, and immediately gave all that material over to the U.S. Army. This is a counterintelligence operation. Anyone who doesn't see it is fucking blind at this point. I'm not even going to bother arguing with people or wasting my time with fucking morons who believe this shit anymore. It's not. They went from bad. I mean, this is a good start. It's not. It's, believe me, it's not. It could be way worse. We could have friggin' Kamala Harris in charge of our government right now. At least Trump is making an illusion. Yeah, he's got a lot of people fooled. Of course, you know, Christina's not the brightest one. She's not the brightest bulb in the box. Let's be honest. It's not like mathematical and scientific genius over here. Let's remember here. There's smart people in the room, and then there's people that are just trying to figure all this out. Doesn't mean that they're all deep state and shills, right? Doesn't mean that. Christina's not, you know, Christina had me on her show early on. I don't think she would anymore because she's established now, but back when she was first starting out, I helped a lot of people get in and get in this movement and start their channels out. And I've tried to help show them a lot of these people are grifters and the game that's being played on everyone. But, you know, some people take that advice to tell the truth, and some people have taken that advice on how to better set up their grifts. So, yeah, that's true. Yeah, the 9/11 thing is just, for them to throw that in there, it was just I was just like, oh, great. Yeah, and then she's talking about we're going to have other foreign countries help out with this investigation in the task force. You know, maybe one of our allies, but she wouldn't say which country it was, right? One of our allies is going to help us with this task force so that we can, you know, get you the truth. The American public is just we need to get transparency back in our government so that people can trust us again, bro. If the truth comes out about all this shit, no one is ever going to trust the government again. Again, it's not the government so much as it's these private entities and private corporations that have co-opted the intelligence community and these private industries that are running our government. The government doesn't have, these people have no fucking power at all. Okay. They don't even have subpoena power to subpoena witnesses. Never mind going to a private, nonprofit government, quasi-governmental organization that has a higher security clearance than the president, like Battelle Memorial Institute, that made the literal demon cores, the most classified component of the atomic bomb for the Manhattan Project, the most classified program in military history. And you think you're going to get fucking answers in 6 months? Yeah, a lot of lawyers are getting calls, man. There's a lot of people going down. There's a lot of people. I'll take it. It's better than nothing. It's a good start. But damn, release the fucking files and let the people handle it. We don't need a task force. We should have a task force to investigate why you set up a task force for declassification of federal secrets. If I was on this task force, or I could have a voice in any of this, man, my voice has been completely fucking silenced. You have no idea the hammer that has come down on me and is about to come down on me for telling the truth to people and revealing this information, what they think are classified secrets that you really shouldn't share, right? Did anyone catch that part too of the Rossi interview? Why is this not working? Did anyone catch that part in Dave Rossi where he says on Jesse Michaels, he says like, oh, these secrets are dangerous for national security and that people really shouldn't be posting this kind of information on social media. Fuck you. You don't have to say to that. Go fuck yourselves. I'm going to post it all over social media. Anything I fucking have and everything I fucking have all over social media. Fuck that. Fuck you. Fuck anyone who wants to be taken seriously, telling people that they shouldn't post the classified information on social media. What happens is you post the classified information on social media, you get shadow banned. They shadow ban the fuck out of you like they did to me, and they delete your X account like they did to my X account, right? At Alien Underbar Scientist, that was my old X account, and they destroyed it, man. They nerfed the whole thing, and then they've replaced. They've created all these other actors to like come in and replace me and give them the credit for the work and research that I did. Well, totally like destroying the real research and co-opting a lot of it. Yeah. This is what happens. And then everybody forgets about you and nobody mentions you. And then when you create a new clone, nobody knows who you are, and nobody sees your posts until you pay for a blue badge, which I'm never doing again because they already censored me and blocked me on this platform. Elon Musk, okay, is as good of a guy as everyone thinks he is and what he's doing. Elon Musk wants that X technology. He knows fucking damn well they have it. He knows all about this shit. That's why he hasn't said a goddamn peep about any of it. He is working behind the scenes with the secret space program and with the Space Force. I know it. I know this for a fact. He is part of this whole operation. They're covering up the information, that the real information. They're putting out a whole bunch of Bob Lazar and fake physics and fake whistleblowers and fake scientists, fake psionic asset programs and all this fake shit to just flood them and muddy the water with as much crap as possible. Well, they're after the technology secretly behind the scenes, and there's a Manhattan Project 2.0 of people hired to crack this stuff and work on this stuff. And there's people working on all kinds of it. I talked about the metamaterials programs over in the UK and the people that are working to build these metamaterials, which you need. Why are metamaterials an important part of these this equation? Because in order to get the type of resonances that you need these types of advanced quantum materials. In order to get the type of quasi-particle states, the quantum states, because all this UFO nonsense, all this crazy new technology is quantum physics. It's macro scale exploitation of quantum phenomena. It's basically you build meta atoms. Meta atoms is a giant freaking. You make your craft think it's an atom or behave essentially like an atom. Then it's gone under. Oh yeah, you're wrong, bro. No need for advanced quasi particle. You don't need any quantum mechanics at all, or metamaterial. You don't need any of this quantum physics. No, I would never sign an NDA. You fucking nuts? Absolutely not. Dave Rossi wanted me to sign an NDA to so he could read me into all his stuff. I told him, go fuck himself, dude. It's never going to fucking happen. I would never, ever sign an NDA. No, I am a full, when you talk to me, you are signing an FDA. That's a full disclosure agreement. That means I'm going to share everything you tell me sometime or another. No, I'm pretty good. I'm good at keeping certain, things secret, but just again, yeah. Anyways, this is macro scale quantum phenomena. It's when you're basically tricking the quantum vacuum into doing behaviors that are quantum behaviors on a macro scale. And those exploitations will get you things like warp drive, things like free energy, things like transmutation and cold fusion. That's where the real physics is. There's no 0 point energy. There's no tapping the 0 point and creating a bomb that's going to blow us all up because we suck too much energy out of the vacuum, and now we're all big banged. We just create a new big bang right here in planet Earth, and the universe expands. A new universe expands out of there because we tapped the 0 point and the black hole of space time. None of that. That's bullshit. Prove me wrong. If it's not bullshit, prove me wrong. We know that the government has dealt drugs. CIA has smuggled cocaine into this country for decades. We know that drug trade is intimately linked to funding terrorism, funding war crimes, funding secret black program, classified research, all that stuff. The US aid is just the very tip of a very much larger iceberg sitting under the surface, people. We haven't seen anything yet. This is the Guantanamo Bay defendant who Lou Elizondo tortured psychically to the point where he could no longer stand trial for his alleged terroristic crimes. Military Judge Colonel Matthew McCall wrote in his 11-page opinion, they disrupt his sleep and lead to outbursts that result in disciplinary confinement measures. Yeah, great. I say we put Lou Elizondo in a room and hit him with psychic weapons and don't let him sleep for 3 days. And then let's see what he has to say about the CIA and UFO programs and everything that he's involved in. It's fucking bullshit. We're going to put this guy in charge of our damn declassification of the files and everything. Robert Sarbacher was one of these physicists that connected to the Manhattan Project and later said that he, in a 1950 interview that he gave, said that, you know, the government's hiding aliens. Basically, this whole Project Blue Book thing with Project Stork and this Wilbur Smith memo, crash recoveries, all that stuff could be hidden, and none of it's under Lockheed Martin. It's all under Battelle. I don't know why people keep talking about Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman, and everyone's saying that is disinfo agents, in my opinion. They're all misled. They're all trying to throw people off the trail of it's other companies, other organizations, and they've existed since the Manhattan Project. Again, can't stress this enough. These are the people we need to be going after. And then the technologies that they still won't talk about, these drones that are flying around, and there's a whole host of secret programs and secret technologies that can explain tons of this shit. Hypersonic arrow spikes and then these laser projections. They can laser project and control wing currents over aircraft and control the plane remotely using lasers, and then use that on one of these balloons. You got a balloon craft and you can create plasma on the balloon, and then you got a glowing sphere orb that flies around any way you want it to. These technologies are real. They exist with proven off-the-shelf parts, nuts and bolts that we can prove. We already have patents on this stuff going back, you know, the sphere inside a cube inside a sphere. CIA's Project Palladium back in the 40s. We have blimps that look a lot like the Tic Tac that were operational from 2008 to 2018, based in San Diego, California, right where the Tic Tac incident occurred, right where the Nimitz was parked and saw these things. But I'm an idiot and I'm a debunker for pointing out that this craft going no more than 90 miles an hour might have been a blimp, that an actual technology that existed in that area and operated in that area. It's almost like they took all the UFO nuts in the Navy and put them all on that one ship. It's fucking nuts, dude. It's just nuts with what's going on and everything that's happened out there. All we can prove is what they've done real investigations on, and what we can see with the science, and go through the science and go through these theories. No, some of these theories don't make sense. They don't work. Some of them may work. Some of them are still testing, like the Alzaphan experiment. Superfluidity, nuclear spins and magnetic resonance, superfluids, idea of mercury plasma, rotating mercury plasma, and these ideas that, you know, apparently Eugene Podkletnov's father was got a whole bunch of secret stuff on Victor Schauberger and used that. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't know. I don't know what to believe anymore. I just know that we need more physics. We need more science. We need more money going towards the programs that can actually figure this stuff out. And we need to put the people that claim things that aren't true and get them off the table, except that they get the most views, they get the most likes, they get the most attention. And the real stuff, you know, you make a video on Bob Lazar, it's going to get 100,000 times more engagement than if you make a video on, you know, an actual PhD physicist who worked for Lockheed Martin on Skunk Works, anti-gravity stuff like Bernard Hayes, right? We have the names, we got the people. God, if I could be on a committee to really go through this stuff, the amount of evidence that I could bring to the table personally would be, it would not be any of these whistleblowers that you've seen so far, any of these hearings. And I would give them the subpoena, who they should subpoena and talk to. They want answers, man. It's, again, I go through all this on my channel, and I always give credit where credit's due to the sources that have the information and put it out there, man. You know what? You know what, Dave? And you still haven't replied back to me, man. I sent you a message 2 days ago when your video first dropped, and I gave you a chance. You know, if you'd responded back to me like a man, I wouldn't be here doing this right now and throwing you under the bus, but you deserve it, man. You deserve it fully. I have some videos on 9/11 if you want to get into that conspiracy. I got videos on JFK. You want to watch my catastrophic disclosure, I got videos on RFK. All this stuff's super shadow banned, but we go in, we name names, we talk about the real cases, the real information, and I debate it with skeptics. I'm not afraid of Mick West. I'll debate it with any of these skeptics. I debated Michael Shermer on UFOs, 9/11, and JFK. Okay. That debate's been super suppressed. Michael Shermer walked away almost crying from that debate. It was so bad. These people do not want serious skeptics, serious informed people that are rational, level-headed, and aren't buying into any of the disinformation. They don't want that. They want people that don't know how to make sense of stuff and are absolutely sure about what they Mick West. The real truth costs you a lot, man. I'm facing jail time. I'm facing jail time for the fucking shit that I've done. The people I've exposed have gone after me. They're trying lawfare and to take me to court, and I can't even talk about my case or any of the shit that they're doing to me. But guess what? If they succeed in their corrupt court fuckery of what they're trying to do, I have a video that's going to drop. And when it all comes out, man, a lot of people are going to get exposed. And a lot of people are going to wake the fuck up to what's really going on in this country and how bad it really is. Yeah, man. Thank me. I wish there was a better way to thank me. If you really want to thank me for what I'm doing, you know, you can help me out. I have my website is back up. I'm doing some work on it. I've been putting out a couple you go to the news, I've been putting out a bunch of new articles here. Go check those out. And then also I'm not doing PayPal anymore. PayPal takes money out of your donations and doesn't send it to me. It charges me a fee. So I'm doing Bitcoin donations only. If you want to send me Bitcoin, that's the best way that you can support me and thank me for everything I've done. Dude, I know I'm over the target. I've been telling people about this shit for years, man. Yeah, I don't have a clearance. I don't have to fear anything I say. I talk about all this stuff, and I've learned more about classified programs and classified information from reading scientists' papers and following the science, looking at the scientists and just reading, what they're into, especially when they would get arrested and sent to prison for classified information, right? None of the other UFO whistleblowers or supposed truth speakers that are out there, none of them are talking about the stuff that I'm talking about. And they do it in order to make this image that it's not credible, this information is not real or not convincing. Bro, I feel like they have. I don't know, man. I'm worried that could be next, dude. I just don't know what to do with all this. But if they do succeed, they're gonna wish they never had. They're gonna lose all credibility. Yeah, huh? Dude, no way. No way. He's Elizondo's lawyer. And he's like, no, I don't not need any of that, man. Yeah, they can't kill me. I don't think that I'm too public, man. That would really draw a lot of bad attention to their whole thing. But don't be surprised if something fucking happens and all my shit gets taken down. I guarantee it. I can see it fucking happen. No, it doesn't. It doesn't exist. It's a joke, man. OBEs. I don't know what an OBE is. You mean extraterrestrial biological entities? Yeah, canceling you socially works much better. Yes, absolutely. Okay, yeah, let's go into some stuff, man. Yeah, man, I've been crushing their narrative. I've been absolutely taking it down and destroying it. So yeah, I watched a little bit of Ashton's stream last night, and he was talking about some electrical engineering stuff. I think it's cool to talk about RC circuits, right? So LC, sorry, LC circuits, Blah. So the LC circuit formula just says, oh, you have a capacitor and an inductor, that the energy flows from one to the other. Is a good diagram showing you the electric field. The current is in the red, so the current goes through the inductor, and that energy goes into a magnetic field. Then the magnetic field comes back in. It's recycled back in. This is the back EMF, recycled back into the inductor, and then that produces a current back in the wire, which then creates a positive charge on the capacitor plate, which goes into the electric field. So that's a big electric field buildup, and then the electric field dissipates back into the wire, creating current. And then the magnetic field builds up, releases the magnetic field, builds up an electric field, releases that. So this is electric field, magnetic field. Okay. And that's what back EMF is, right? There was a couple questions that he counter electromotive force is manifesting as a voltage that opposes a change in current when induced to it. Okay. So when you induce that current on the inductor, it produces a voltage in the opposite direction, right? For example, Voltage appearing across an inductor or coil is due to a change in the current, which causes a change in the magnetic field within the coil, and therefore the self-induced voltage. The polarity of the voltage at every moment opposes that of the change in applied voltage to keep the current constant. Yes, current is always constant. The voltage and the resistance and all that will change to keep that a constant. And that's Lenz's law. Okay, that's Lenz's law will tell you why you can't make free energy machines. Okay, Ashton, as was apparent in the stream he did last night talking about this, doesn't understand how LC circuits work, how any of that stuff works, but yet wants to say that he's, an expert on free energy and knows how this stuff works. Sorry, Ashton. I like you, but you're wrong. Phasers, I mentioned too on his channel about how you can basically put the things in terms of a complex vector, and how that when you have an LC circuit, this is your resistance. UR is your resistor, L is your inductor, C is your capacitor, and those phase vector will show you in a vector space how your solution will look. Again, this equation, the Euler wave equation, will give you the amplitude and frequency of your sine wave, your electromagnetic wave, which is, basically what you're doing anytime you deal with AC circuits. And I mean, if you have a DC circuit and you put a capacitor and an inductor in there, okay, they just act like a resistor. Okay, there's no complex component, and they just line up, and basically the capacitor is just its natural resistance, and it's the inductor, its natural resistance. You add up and then becomes just a resistor. All these things just become resistors. The capacitors and the inductors only have an interesting component in AC circuits where the voltage is going back and forth, oscillating. And what they'll do is they have a time variation inside the the inductance and capacitance, which will change the frequency or the speed of those things. So, and it's all based on these math formulas, which is, again, I'm not going to get into the math because I'm going to lose everybody, and people that want to get into the math can do that on their own. But again, the electricity and all this stuff is very well understood. It's called impedance, the electrical impedance formula. Okay, and I don't know where in electrical impedance you can get a negative impedance or get more energy out than you get in. There's a couple cases where you can look like on these graphs you're getting more energy out than you're getting in. All right, and one such is called the buck boost transformer, right, or a buck boost converter. You can make adjustments to the voltage applied to alternating current equipment, right? And again, it can make it look like you're getting more energy out than you are, but there's tricks to all this stuff, and there's a lot of them that these free energy scammers use to take advantage of people that never took physics beyond a construction worker's level, right? Or beyond a high school level, right? People that didn't go to college, didn't take calculus, didn't take vector algebra or linear algebra or any of the requisite math classes or the physics, and don't understand just basic electrical engineering and electromechanics, are not going to be the ones to figure out free energy and break. Okay, if someone's going to figure out free energy, it's going to come from someone who's at least somewhat trained in academic physics and academic science. Okay, this is the real science that allows all of your electronics to work, right? All your computers work because this stuff. And if this stuff was fake or it was incomplete or didn't work or only worked some of the times, then a lot of your shit wouldn't work. But again, I guess there's a market in this stuff, and if you got to get yourself out there and to boost your credibility as an authority on physics, and you're just a construction worker with no background, it will help to say that you got your training from aliens. Because certainly if you tell people that the people that taught you physics, and you talk about APEC and alien scientists on these kind of streams, you'll get shadow banned, and nobody will take you seriously, right? Because nobody will see you, nobody will hear your information. So I guess you got to go out there and say that you talk to some blue plasma sphere being that sent you visions and talked to you about all this stuff. Dan Winter, I'd love to get Dan on the show to really pick his brain and stuff. A lot of what he says just sounds like word salad to me. Sounds like saying things are fractal to the. I mean, he uses a lot of words, but again, I don't know that it actually means much scientifically, or that there's much there. I would love to do an in-depth discussion with any of these guys, and I don't think they're COINTELPRO. I just think he's just again, these people that don't have the people that don't really have a thorough training or background in academic science or academic physics, and they pander to an audience of the same type of people. So there's lots of people that don't get physics, that don't understand math, that don't understand science, and so a lot of these people pander to those audiences and try to sell bullshit to those types of people. I'm not one of those people. I'm not here to sell bullshit. I'm here to figure out the real fucking physics that these things use in order to make them fly. That's what I'm here to do. That's what I've always been here to do. I'm not here to sell podcasts or talk about, technologies, ideas or concepts or theories. I'm here to do real experiments and test theories. We've gone over so many theories, almost all the theories we could possibly have. In fact, we'll be doing more theory today, right? You guys don't forget, today is APEC, 3:00. So please tune in. We got real scientists and real experts coming on. Let's see who's on. Possible techno signatures around the Earth. Eamon Ansbro. Dr. Eamon Ansbro discusses a new paper presented at the American Geophysical Union conference between 9th and 13th December in Washington, D.C. The paper provides in the analysis supporting data that indicates that UAP are technosignatures around the Earth based on the orbital period and inclinations. This may suggest that these technosignatures have an organized orbital tracks for monitoring the Earth. There is more research to follow to resolve the inclinations. However, when additional results are complete, the paper will be published in 2025. Awesome. See, I love getting smart people in the room to learn from them, because when we get a whole bunch of smart people together and someone tries to sell bullshit, it doesn't go over as well as in these other communities. Emery Taylor and Rajan Iyer will be discussing how their models of discontinuum physics provides a theoretical framework for the UFO technology of maneuverability, communications, and missing time. That's interesting. One of the things that Dave Rossi talked about in this interview on Jesse Michaels was this issue of a UFO that had hovered near a plant, and then the plant they found had aged 10 years with just the UFO sitting next to it for a couple minutes. That somehow the UFO had aged 10. I mean, the plant near in the UFO's field had aged for 10 years. I don't know how they determined that. I mean, did it have 10 years worth of growth? So, obviously there's some kind of growth or something that had happened for 10 years that they could see, but how did the plant get nutrients for 10 years? And So if 10 minutes turned into 10 years, it's still receiving the same amount of light during that time. So did it exist inside this bubble that received, only a fractional? I mean, how does the light energy, if it has a total amount of energy, energy's got to be conserved. So if you're increasing the time period inside your bubble, then obviously the energy has to be distributed. That same amount of energy has to be distributed over that, energy per unit time, right? That's work, right? Right. So power, work over time, right? So that's, power is your work over time. So the amount of work that the light can only do X amount of work over a period of time. So that's the power level. The power level is like the intensity of your light coming into your warp bubble. So that if you increase the time period, obviously W stays the same because it's still the same amount of work. Then your power input inside the bubble goes down by a factor of, what's 10 minutes to 10 years. 10 minutes is what fraction of 10 years is 10 minutes? And that's the fraction of power that you'd get just by this equation right here, right? So the amount of, I don't understand how this plant could have aged 10 years inside this bubble with only a limited amount of light energy hitting the bubble. I mean, how did the plant, I don't get it. The physics doesn't make sense on a basic level. So I'd love to see that. Yeah, but yeah, I guess again, missing time is a key one, because what happens with this missing time, and is there, and then what happens inside those a time distortion bubble to things like energy entering or exiting the bubble and things like that. I don't know. Our idea is that a particular set of values and a reformulation of initial conditions for relic black holes will enable using the idea of torsion to reformulate a cosmological constant and resultant dark energy. Relic Planck-sized black holes will allow for a spin density term presenting an opportunity to cancel torsion. Meanwhile, speculation given by Corda replaces traditional firewalls in relic black holes with different formulation with a quantum number n. In addition, and most importantly, this idea can offer a solution to the incompleteness of hairless black holes. We finally concluded with a use of a generalized uncertainty principle, which has application to black holes and is linked relationship to the problem of a black hole linked by a wormhole to a white hole. Okay. That sounds interesting, because I've always said that, if you cover the coat of your skin of your UFO with strange metals, right? Strange metals are topologically equivalent to extremal black holes. Strange metals, just like YCBO with a bunch of nano holes punctured in it. So it changes the topology and thus the quantum behavior of the metal. And so if you were to use strange metals on the outside of your craft, you could potentially turn your craft into a extremal black hole. And if you could then link it to with a wormhole to a white hole, then you can teleport your craft, right? That would be awesome. Sounds a little crazy, but it might not be in 10 or 15 years, or it might not be inside of our deep black programs, which have missing millions and trillions in funding that just goes into a black hole. We never get anything back out of it. Robert Francis Jr. has been conducting an extensive series of experiments involved with the free fall of magnets to gauge changes in speed and velocity. This is based on an experimental proposal by Boyd Bushman. Yes, the magnet drop experiment that Boyd Bushman talked about in that old David Sereda interview. Fascinating. Boyd claimed that a pair of magnets, if you take like strong magnets and you push them into each other so that the magnetic fields are really opposed and oriented against each other, and you lock the magnets together, then that object will fall at a different rate of speed than the magnets that are aligned with the poles facing the same way rather than the poles in opposite directions. So I know a lot of people have tried to do this magnetic free fall experiment, and a lot of problems with the sensitivity on such an experiment. You have to find a 200-foot drop tower that's made entirely of wood with no metal or ferromagnetic, nails or anything in the structure that could cause a slight variation to your, magnetic field. It's a hard experiment to do because, where you're going to get a 200-foot wooden or plastic drop tower that's completely not magnetic. But yeah, this one should be interesting. I got a lot of questions for him on that. And then we got Bruce Cornett, UFOs, Orbs, and Drones, 4 p.m. Pacific time. Bruce Cornett will provide an inclusive photo comparison and distinction between classic Pine Bush UFOs and the New Jersey drone sightings based on interaction with observers on the ground, and along with insights on recent claims of drone swarms. Bruce will also provide sound analysis recorded from UAP and drones, which are unique for human instruments, music, synthesizers, and ears. Okay. So sound analysis. I'm thinking he's talking about fast Fourier transforms. FFT is an algorithm called the fast Fourier transform, and that's what they record a sound of a flute, and then they run it through a machine which does an FFT and pulls out all the main frequencies and breaks it down into a couple subtle overtones. So they can, and then they use those overtones to mimic the sound. So that's how they create a sound that sounds like a flute or a violin or a guitar, and how the sounds are different based on those overtones. They run it through this FFT. So that's probably the sound analysis that he's talking about. I'm not exactly sure. We'll have looking forward to that one. That one should be cool. Now, 5 p.m. we have all the lab partners. There's a huge community here of people trying to test the more wild and outlandish claims made by those in the community with actual, laboratory experiments. So the lab people will be getting together at 5 p.m. Pacific time, which is 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 8 p.m. Eastern time. And they're going to be talking about the 3M electrostatic wall experiments, the DNP testing of that arts parts sample that we got a hold of, and more. And so that should be cool to check out. And then we're going to have the latest research from James Woodward and his Mega Drive team, and also Andrew Origema providing updates with his electrostatic propulsion device research and testing. So again, we're always looking for welcome additions to the lab partner community here at APEC, looking for more people to get involved, help promote this initiative to build and reverse engineer real anti-gravity technology. Conference guests interested in presenting experimental info to the group are invited to participate at this time. At the end, we'll have an open discussion at the very last hour following all the speakers. So yes, this is today. Please join, please share, like, and smash that share and like button. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Well, we're just we're all looking for the information. But anyways, no, you didn't, buddy. No, you didn't. In fact, you gave some real serious super chats to really help. So yeah, don't spam the chat, man. We don't like to censor anyone here except spammers and people that do all caps and are annoying. So, I read all the comments here. Very good about that. There's no reason to shout. There's no reason to spam. Okay. If you have something worthwhile to say, then just say it. And if I don't hear you, maybe repeat it, once or twice. But you don't have to spam. You don't have to do any of that. Dude, I thought Rossi was my friend too, man. But rather than giving me a shout out, bro, he gives friggin' Blue Aliens a shout out. Rather than giving APEC and the science team on APEC a shout out, he's telling everybody that he specifically avoids mentioning our group at 2 occasions in this video, all within the first 10 minutes, the first 20 minutes. If you go and watch the first 20 minutes, he talks about the groups that brought him in and helped giving him, a platform for this stuff. But he doesn't mention their names. And then he says that he learned all this stuff from a blue alien and an abduction, which is just, man, that's not a friend, man. It's not what a friend would do at all. And just because I disagree with Dave and I don't believe in things he's saying doesn't mean, we can't be friends either. Me and Dave we could walk away from this and still be friends. It's just, I don't understand why Dave, I texted him 2 days ago about this and he doesn't write me back. He doesn't say anything. So that's why we're I'm shouting Dave out and calling him out on this podcast. Okay. Nothing to do with that. I mean, we're here to, I would hope if I'm wrong on something that Dave Rossi calls me out and says, dude, I would love that. When I'm wrong, I hope people call me out and show what I get wrong. And I absolutely will correct information that I have wrong. And I'll absolutely give people credit for, being the ones who provided the information to me, I think it's kind of messed up, man. And again, yeah, dude, it's all we have the truth. We have the truth on a lot of these issues. I'm not as big in the Epstein stuff as I was on 9/11. I really dug in hard on 9/11 for you. That was my wake up call, like almost 20 years ago now. And I just went way down the rabbit hole on that back before all the information got completely censored and shadow banned off the net. So I know a lot about those kinds of things. And again, I have a whole page on my website. You can go to it's in the debunk bin because I debunked a lot of stuff, but you go to my debunk bin here on my 9/11 page and you'll find just some of the best evidence out there on the case. I really should update that with some new stuff and put more stuff on there. But again, watch my debate on 9/11 with Michael Shermer too. I really gave it to Michael hard in that interview. And that's the kind of debate that we need. That's the kind of discussion that we need to do. And again, please like, share, and subscribe. Yeah, that's not bad, man. I see some of these other channels getting like 800, 1,000, man. That's still not bad, but it's not the numbers we should be at. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple people, man. No, we're gonna do more than pray, man. We're gonna take some real serious action. I got 1 month left to do it before they frickin' bring the hammer down even harder on me. And I'm gonna make sure it gets out, man. I'm gonna make sure this information gets out. Anyways, guys, I got to get going to work. I just wanted to do a stream and talk about all this stuff because it's really, I didn't get a chance to, and it's just reading everything and watching everything on the internet. It's really aggravating seeing people who think that, they're going to get the truth out of the government with this committee and these task forces, and just release the documents, dude. There's no need for a committee or a task force unless you're arresting people, right? When the police put together a task force, okay, they usually ends with arrests, okay? A temporary group of law enforcement officers or civilian support personnel who work together to address a specific crime or set of crimes, right? That's what a police task force is. That's what we should be having, is a police task force. We should be not putting fucking Democrat criminals and fucking people that should be investigated and arrested on a fucking jury in a task force to investigate themselves. No, we need to assemble a bunch of dedicated law enforcement individuals who can prosecute federal people on a massive scale, like what needs to happen in this country, the full cleanup and full accountability and action that is needed. It needs to be a task force of law enforcement people. And unfortunately, our law enforcement agencies and most of our police have been weaponized against the American people by the government, and it's really turned into, you know, there's no community policing anymore. It's assault and arrest, not you know, defend and protect. Serve and protect. Serve and defend. No, not serve and protect. It's harass and arrest. And they've done this with surveillance, and yeah, so much stuff is going on with the police, man. It's really, they've been co-opted and ruined. But thank you, and have a great day. I'll see you later, everyone.